Welcome back to another video. First things first, playoffs have started. We watched the play-in, we watched all that, and I will say that it was very entertaining. The play-in did its job. I know the second round of play-in did not really live up to what we wanted it to, but that's just the way things go sometimes, and that's okay. The first round did more than enough for the play-in to really, stand for what it wanted to for me, in my opinion. You can disagree all you want, but that's just my opinion. But I'm here to talk about some. We've had a few injuries already within the playoff sphere and within this setting, and I want to see how different some of these series would be, or just the playoffs in general, if we had less injuries or no injuries in general. So starting off obviously with the biggest series of this round so far, because it has been the most surprising for a lot of people, including myself, the Rockets versus the Lakers. And the Lakers right now are up 2-0, and to be honest, it is LeBron and also just out coaching to a certain extent, because Ime Udoka has not came on the top of his game recently, especially with this team and this existence, because this year they've been nothing but disappointing. Kevin Durant has pointed it out on multiple occasions. They're just not coached right, in my opinion, and I feel like there's a lot of issues within that team, and we're seeing it on the highest stage. Right now, they can't make a three to save their life. They shot 7 for 29. Their best shooter from the three-point line was Jabari Smith Jr. Kevin Durant didn't shoot well, and he also had a very big turnover issue because of the way the Lakers played him. They were very heavy on the double teams, and he's not a good playmaker by any means, never has been. So when he deals with those sort of things, he doesn't have the best ability to pass out of it, to be real with you. Amen Thompson has obvious restrictions. I understand a lot of people think he has really high potential, and I can understand that opinion. It is just hard for me to really view him as anything more than, at his best, a high-level all-star, when his shooting and outside scoring in general is just it's so obsolete. There's nothing there. And then you go to the Lakers, where there's just, their offense has looked amazing, but it's really their defense that's been carrying the load. Last game, they shot incredibly from three with a 13 of 28. Marcus Smart had 25 points and 7 assists with 5 steals. That's probably his best game in the last 5 years of his career. LeBron had 28, 8, and 7, and Luke Kennard continues to have a great series. Last game he had 27. This game he has 23, and he makes 3 3-pointers in this game, and then last game he made 5. The real question, though, is, do the Lakers play better or worse if Austin Reeves and Luka Doncic are back on the court? And I feel like this question is different for if one of them is back in comparison to two of them. With both of them back, I feel like their defense gets hindered a good bit, and there's more things to exploit on the defensive end of the ball. Offense, of course, would be a million times better. So regardless, I still do think that the Lakers would lead this series 2-0. It would just be in a different way, because they obviously adapted very well. They have a great coach over there with JJ Redick. They are really molding in ways I didn't expect them to, especially with the personnel that they have. But they would just lead in a different way, I believe. And they have a better chance of leading, in my opinion, if it is just Luka and there's no Austin Reeves, because we don't have to worry about Austin Reeves getting his shots up, his minutes, and also he is a defensive liability. So is Luka, but with both of them on the court, it makes their identity that they have right now with the defense a lot less visible, in my opinion. But I think they'd still be in the lead, as I said before. And if the Rockets had KD in Game 1, it might be a different conversation, because I really do. I understand the argument of, KD was their Game 2 and he played like trash, but also he's playing with a leg injury. There's without a doubt that he's playing with a leg injury. So if he was fully healthy and his teammate did not injure him during practice, which is whoever did that, I don't know who did it. I don't know if it came out yet or not, but whoever did that, you are a fucking moron. I'm gonna just be real. You are a moron. But if that doesn't happen, how different would this team play? And to be honest, I don't know how different, because this team has the same question marks and concerns that it's had since the second half of the season. The first half of the season, this team looked insane. Everyone was considering them favorites, high up on the food chain when it came to the Western Conference. As the season ended, we saw their flaws heavily magnified, especially on the playmaking side, because they don't have a point guard due to Fred VanVleet being out for the season. And I don't know if Fred VanVleet fixes all the issues this team has. But they have a very, very big issue that he would be able to close up a bit more if he was there, in my sincere opinion. But next up, I'm going to speak about the San Antonio Spurs. And it's obvious when I'm talking about the Spurs, y'all. Wemby gets injured this game. He has a concussion. He cannot be evaluated to play for another 48 hours. Luckily for them, they don't play for another 3 days or 2 days at the point of this recording, but 3 days since their game. So he does have the time to be able to come back. It just depends on how severe the concussion is. The real question is, though, how does game 2 go if Wemby is there? Because Wemby only played 12 minutes. He had 5 points, 4 rebounds, 1 assist, and 1 block. After that, they heavily relied on players like Luke Cornett and De'Aaron Fox, Stephon Castle to get them a lot of points. And it was working for a good point of this game, but then they were not able to continually grasp the situation. And the Blazers took over. And it wasn't somebody like Denny, who's had a great postseason run so far. Fuck you, though. I cannot in good faith do like prop for Denny without saying that, because I just feel like it's disingenuous. But you know, he didn't have a good game. Tomini Kamara played great on defense. Donovan Clingan, for some reason, is shooting mad threes. I don't get it. Shout out to Thiago Splitter. He has them playing great basketball. I just don't understand that play, like that option in general. Drew Holiday is shooting the piss out the ball, and he's not making much, but he's definitely adding value on the defensive side. This team has a great defensive identity in general, where people like Rob Williams, Drew Holiday, Tomini Kamara, who else? Jeremy Grant. These are Matisse Thybulle. Even when he plays, they are such good defenders that when you have them in a series against a team like the Spurs, the guards are going to struggle innately. Regardless of anything, the guards are going to struggle badly, because Drew Holiday has the ability, especially young guards, to take the ball out of their hands, and whenever they take up a shot, it feels forced or like not in the right speed. They are either sped up or just out of pace in general due to what Drew Holiday does. But the real star of this game for the Portland Trail Blazers is Scoot Henderson. Coming into the season, I said I thought Scoot Henderson should have started, because I did not think that this Blazers team was good enough to really make a run at this current time. I still do believe that. Even though they made the playoffs, I don't think they're good enough to make a sincere run at anything. But I was wrong. He did not start. He actually dealt with a lot of injuries throughout the season, and a lot of people are not, like, they're not looking at him the same way they did when he was first coming in, or even after his first 2 years, because he's in year 3. He hasn't shown much progression throughout the games that he's played. But my real argument for that is he was injured for most of the season. So what progression can he show you if he's not on the court? Because he's been on the court in the playoffs and he's been really good. And he just showed another really good game over here. 31 points. I understand he did not play make well. I get that. I understand if you want your point guard to play make well, but also you have somebody like Drew Holiday who has 9 assists in this game. So that's, you know, I think it's just nitpicking at that point. He had 5 made threes in this game, which was one of his biggest scoring concerns coming into the league, was his jump shot. And it seems like he's really started to, you know, get a hang of that on the offensive side. Not many turnovers, not much foul trouble. He played a great game, amazing true shooting, and I don't see how we cannot build off of this. And I understand there's always a game where role players are like able to take over, and this was one of those games. And I don't think he has the same game with Wemby here. I'm gonna be honest. But what I will say is, I think that he is showing that he deserves a bigger shot on this team or off this team. Because to be honest, the guard role over there is taken up. Next year, Dame will be back. I don't know how you convince the fans that you're going to start Scoot Henderson over Dame. Drew Holiday might still be there next year. I don't understand what they're going to do in that situation. Shaedon Sharpe, he did not play many minutes in this game. I don't know if he's dealing with injury or anything like that, but it's just such a logjam at the guard position right now over there for them that I don't even see a world where he could thrive in the right way on that team unless they make serious roster moves and changes. So he might end up having to thrive on a different team. And Blazers fans are going to be sick. They're going to be sick to their stomach, and that's just what it is. Because they drafted this guy number 2, but then they continuously just kept making moves and changes that hindered his game. Like getting Drew Holiday hinders his chance of getting playing time. Getting Dame again, which I understand it's a legacy move. Damian Lillard deserves to be in a Portland Trail Blazers uniform. But still, it hinders your future young stars playing time. At the end of the day, do I think Dame should be here? Yes, of course. But I think at least for this season, they should have had a spot open for Scoot Henderson. But it worked. They won a lot of games, and they are in the playoffs in a tied series against the second seed. So, yeah, I do think that they lose this game, though, if Wemby's here. I just feel like it's a completely different ball game, and Wemby's interior defense would just destroy half of the shots that they're trying to put up in there. And I don't think Scoot would have the opportunity to have the game that he did if Wemby is there. Even though he had a great first quarter, he would have still had a good game, but I don't think he would have been able to drop 30 type good. Let's talk about the last series. I mean, the last game that I want to see right now when it comes to, like, injuries and things like that, or, like, different situations that could have changed stuff. Would Philly be up in this series if Embiid is here? I mean, I understand game one, they did not have a good game at all. They only had 91 points. They lost by 30. And coming into this game, a lot of people had them written off the bat, which I understand this Philly team isn't insane, but they have the firepower to be able to really put on a show and compete with any team. VJ Edgecombe has the ability to do what he did tonight every night. He can put up 30 and 10 whenever. 20 and 10 is more realistic, but he can put up 30 and 10. Tyrese Maxey didn't have the most efficient game, but he had a very clutch game. In the fourth quarter, he was making a lot of timely shots they really needed. He had a really bad third, and I think that's what affected him the most. But going into that fourth, he ended up with 12 points, 2 rebounds, 1 assist, and 1 steal in that fourth quarter. And a lot of that stuff was in the like nitty-gritty of the game when they was getting closer, and when the Celtics seemed to be making a run or a push into the other direction, he was able to fight back and make a shot to make that not happen. A few players I'm disappointed in. I will say Quentin Grimes. I saw a lot more out of you last season. I don't understand how you've kind of taken the back seat so heavily that in 21 minutes you were only shooting 2 for 6 and they're both threes. I understand that like you have a role now, but even with like somebody like Embiid out, I think you should be able to do more on the offensive side. And Andre Drummond made another 3 today. That's history right there. I'm not even playing. That's history. Paul George has been an efficient basketball player since coming back from his suspension. Beautiful to see. 19 points today on 53% from the field. That's all you can ask for from that man. He's at that point of his career where he's supposed to be taking the backseat as a scorer, and that's what he's done, and he's done it very well. I will be completely honest with you. Kelly Oubre playing his role. These players are just playing the role well. Adam Bona had a very clutch block at the end of that game on Jason Tatum when the Celtics were still within like striking range. I believe they were like the score was less than 10 points. Like it was at that point. Jaylen Brown 36, Jason Tatum almost a triple-double. Vooch not playing his best game. Payne Pritchard not playing his best game. This is one of those games where the Celtics fans will look back on if they do not win the series, and they're just like, we need to play better than this. There is no reason that they should lose a game where Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown are both healthy, and Jaylen Brown drops 36, let alone lose this game by more than 10 points. It's just embarrassing at that point. For me, in my opinion, and I'm not a fan of this team. I'm not a fan of this Celtics team in general, just because of like what they have been able to do. Is obviously they have overexceeded expectations coming into the season, but I can see through that and see that this roster is heavily like depleted in comparison to what they've had in the past. I understand Nemes Keita had a great year. He had a wonderful year as a defender interiorly as well. Now he is sharing that time with a center who genuinely cannot play a lick of defense. Vucevic, you have some value on the offensive end for sure, but in this Celtics team, what they really need is somebody like Nemes Keita playing 35 plus, because he can catch a lob, he can defend the interior, he can set hard screens. He knows his role. Whereas somebody like Vucevic wants to get into his bag a little bit more. He wants to shoot a post fade. He wants to, get to the glass, post up, do all these extra things that they do not need because they have enough mouths to feed over there. Payton Pritchard is not doing what you want him to do at this current time period. That's just what it is. You guys, they were comfortable trading Drew Holiday because they believed that Payton Pritchard was able to take that next step. And I'm not saying he's not. This season he averaged a cool 17-5, which is really good in comparison to what he was doing in the years past. But when it comes to his playoffs so far, he hasn't really been up to par to what I believe he should be able to do. He's been very inefficient, and it's starting to show a bit. And I don't know if they have the ability to have one of their starting players be so inefficient while continuing to try to, compete against a team like the 76ers, because this is not a slouch team to play in the first. Like, this is a tough first round team. The 76ers have experience. They've all been here before. And their rookie who's not been here before just showed y'all he don't care. He's been here before. Like, he's playing like he's been here before. So, like, they need to, I'm not saying press the red button and panic. But what I am saying is they need to understand shit can get very, very, very scary at some point. Genuinely speaking. So they need to fine-tune some things. I feel like Joe Mazzulla should either really lower Vucevic's minutes a bit to give some more to somebody like Keita, or simply take him out the lineup. I don't think he's fit for this series specifically, especially when it comes to when there's switches on the perimeter. If Maxey starts to exploit that matchup more than he already has, I think that it would be very, like I just said before, it's going to be very scary. But Embiid here, I think Embiid being here would make Mazzulla make that change quicker, if that makes sense, because he'd see visibly how often Vucevic is getting taken advantage of by such a dominant big man. And I know Embiid's not at the same level as he was a few years ago, but he is still a very dominant big man on the offensive side of the ball when he has his limited minutes. So whenever he comes back from appendicitis, I hope it is from, by the way, craziest injury history of all time. He had Bell's palsy and now he's having appendicitis. That's crazy. But whenever he comes back from that, if he does during the series, there's really big answers for the Celtics big men, because if he gets Neemias Queta into some foul trouble, Vucevic is going to have to guard Joel Embiid. And that is fucking nasty. I cannot tell you how fucking nasty that is. Embiid will drop 40. He will go vintage on Vucevic. I'm not even playing. But I just wanted to get quickly into some injury stuff that's been going on and talk about yesterday's games, really, because yesterday's games were very interesting, regardless of the score of some of them. The Sixers and Celtics game was a lot closer than the numbers tell you. And on the opposite side of the coin, the Rockets versus Lakers game was not as close as the score is telling you. I'm going to be real. I felt like that game was over before it started, especially with some of the stuff I was seeing on the Rockets side of the ball. They just play such an embarrassing brand of basketball. But that's something we're going to talk about on the podcast more in depth very soon. I'm going to see y'all next time. Peace.